Now, we'll be starting another important lecture that are loops, right? So basically, there are a number of loops in Java, and loops are the very important thing in Java, right? Without loops, your Java is incomplete, right? So there are many types of loops like while loop, do while loop, for loop, enhanced for loop. So we'll be studying about these loops in depth, why they are required, what is the importance of loops, what are the syntaxes. So we'll be creating a lot of examples, right? From now onwards, there will be less theory and more practical. So there will be a lot of code that is going to come from this lecture. And the very first loop we're going to talk about is the while loop, right? Now, if you take a look at the definition, while loop repeats a block of code until the condition is true, right? So if I go to Eclipse, and I create, let's say we create a separate project for loops. So I'll name it as loops, right? And let me close these things, and I'll create a new class over here. So very first loop we'll be studying about is the while loop, right? Now what is the syntax of while loop? So when we are working with while loop says till the time the condition is true, this loop will gonna run. So condition true, as in this is a boolean condition. So boolean, we have seen in our previous lectures that if any number is equal to the second number, then the condition is true. If 10 is greater than 8, then this condition is true. If the condition is true, then it will go inside this loop. If the condition is not true, then it will come out of the loop, right? Then it will not go inside this loop. Now, let us see a very small program of printing numbers that start from 1 to 10, right? So, what I'll be writing over here, while let's say I, right, is less than equal to 10, right? Now, what is this I? What is this I? I can even write uh, int I is less than equal to 10, but I cannot do this thing here, right? Because this expression only understand the boolean expression, right? So I cannot write int over here. So what I can do, I can write it like this way. I can declare it over here, and I can say int I equal to 1, right? And then I'll remove this thing from here, right? Now what happens at this moment, the value of I is 1. So if I is less than equal to 10, so this condition is satisfied, right? This is true. I is less than equal to 10. What it will do, it will go inside this block, and it will actually gonna print the value of I, right? So I'll just write I over here, right? So while I is less than equal to 10, it should print I. Now what happens if I run this? Will it gonna print the number 1 to 10? What happens? Let us see what it will gonna do. So as soon as I run it, see it's keep on printing. It ends up in an infinite loop, right? It is keeping it's keep on printing 1 1 1 over here, right? And I need to terminate the loop from here, right? Now, in order to fix this issue, what I need to do, inside this block, I need to increment the value of I, right? Now, it is only printing I, right? It says while I is less than 10, then print I, and I is always less than 10, right? So it ends up in an infinite loop. It keeps on running it, right? Till the time condition is being satisfied, till the time condition is true. So it keeps on running the loop. It never comes out of the loop, right? So what I need to do, I need to increment the value of I by saying I plus plus, right? So next time what happens, the value of I, when it becomes 1, it goes over here and it increments the value of I to like 1. So the value of I is 1, then the next time that will be 2. Next time it will gonna be 2, and check whether 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, 2 is less than equal to 10. It will come inside the loop. Then it will repeat this thing for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 until less than equal to 10. Now next time when the value becomes 11, when it becomes 11, then it will check whether this thing is equal to this or not. Whether 11 is less than equal to 10, the condition does not satisfy, it will come out of the loop, right? So if I run this thing again, what happens as soon as I run this, you can see it has printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and it terminated because the condition satisfied up till 10 only. As soon as it comes 11, the condition is false, then it comes out of the loop, right? Now let us do some manipulation over here and try to understand how this while loop actually works. Now what happens if I remove this block and if I remove this block, right? So will it still gonna work? Will it still gonna work? What it will gonna do if I run this thing? What it will gonna do if I just run this? What it will gonna print, right? We need to understand the scope of this while loop up till where it will gonna work. Will it gonna print 1 to 10 again, or will it gonna repeat some numbers again, or what it will gonna do? Just think for it for let's say 2 minutes and just try to understand the concept, what exactly the scope of this while loop is. So if I run this time it will not gonna print 1 to 10. It will just gonna print 1 and end up in an infinite loop again only, right? Now I need to terminate this thing from here. So what happens, this while loop, as soon as you put a semicolon over here, this while loop gets break, right? Because we need to define a breakpoint of this loop. That semicolon act as a breakpoint over here. So if that is the only reason we keep everything inside this block. As soon as while statement finds, if it didn't find this open braces and closed braces, if it finds this semicolon over here, it will think that the termination point is over here. The loop blocks is up till over here, up till the semicolon is placed, right? So even if I write this thing over here, now tell me what it will gonna print. Just think about it. What it will gonna print? Will it again gonna print 1 1 1 1 1 1, or will it gonna print the numbers 1 to 10? It will not gonna print anything, because as soon as it finds this semicolon, it thinks that the loop ends over here, the block ends over here, and as soon as we run it, it enters into an infinite loop, but it will not gonna print anything. So let us run this and let us see what is happening. Over here you can see nothing is being printed, but the program is still being executed. It ends up into an infinite loop. It is not printing anything, it ends up into an infinite loop because it is not going to the next statement. This condition is satisfied, it is not going to the next statement. What if I'll terminate it and if I write 11 over here? If I write 11 over here, what it will gonna do? Very first thing, it will check while 11 is less than 10. This condition will not gonna satisfy. It will just gonna run it. Let us see what it prints. So it prints 11, right? Because when it goes over here, the condition was not satisfied. The condition was false, and then it directly goes over here. And after that, it incremented the value of I. If you again gonna print this statement, you will see that it will gonna print 11 and then it will gonna print 12, right? So the scope of this loop, this while loop, is within this open bracket and close curly bracket, and anything we write inside it, this becomes the scope of the while loop. So if I run this time now, it didn't enter into it because the value of I is 11, right? If I write it 1, it will start the number printing from 1 and up till 10, right? So if we understand this loop in more depth, any loop that you talk about in any programming language, they generally work in with two criteria. One is your entry criteria, right? So what is the entry criteria for this loop? Entry criteria is loop condition should be true, right? Or I should write loop condition must be true. So if the condition is true, then and then only it should enter inside a loop. And the second thing is the exit criteria, right? So we generally focuses on the entry criteria. We never thinks about the exit criteria, right? So if we talk about loops, then these loops are not statements, right? It will not be executed one by one, like one line, then after that this, then after that this, then after that the next statement, right? These are loops are not statements, right? We need to understand this thing. Loops are not statements. So they are not terminated, but they exits, right? Now you have entered to a loop while the condition of the loop was true, right? Same way, you can only exit from a loop if the condition is false. Till the time condition is not false, it will not gonna come out of this loop, right? So this is all about while loop. In the next example, we're gonna take a look at do while loops. All right.